Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into the latest two-wheeler launches. Stuff hitting the Indian market right now, mid-June 2025.
Yeah, lots happening.
Exactly. We're covering the whole spectrum, powerful new bikes, but also some interesting moves in electric scooters.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through, a whole bunch of recent auto news, industry reports, all that stuff.
Right.
The idea is to give you a quick, but still, pretty thorough look at what's new and why it actually matters.
Yeah.
So our mission today, let's unpack these launches, see what they tell us about where the Indian two-wheeler scene is heading. Okay, let's get into it.
Sounds good. And what's fascinating here, I think, is how these specific launches, they're not just new metal, they really point towards bigger shifts.
How so?
Well, changes in what people are buying, consumer demand, and also how the manufacturers are thinking their strategies. It's a super dynamic market.
Absolutely. These launches are like little signals, aren't they?
Exactly. Signals about where things are going next for getting around.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the motorcycles. Some pretty exciting stuff, especially in adventure and sports. First one up, the Honda XL750 Transalp.
Ah, yes, the Transalp.
Oh, been
Waiting for this one.
Right. It's billed as a versatile adventure tourer. It's got a 755cc engine, puts out around 91 PS, so roughly 90 horsepower there.
Decent power for touring.
Yeah, and the price is set at 10.99 lakh. That's ex-showroom gurugram, of course.
So before taxes and registration.
Hmm.
Still puts it in that premium bracket.
It does. And the big headline here is, well, it's the first big-bore Honda ADV to officially land in India.
That's the key point. Honda hasn't really played hard in this specific space here before.
Bookings are open already, big wing dealers, and they're saying deliveries should start in July.
Okay. And connecting this to the bigger picture, like we said, Honda bringing in a proper big-bore ADV, it says something.
What does it say to you?
Well, it suggests the Indian market for these premium adventure bikes is really maturing. People are looking beyond just basic commuting now.
And maybe ready to spend more for that capability.
It's exactly. It also sort of puts pressure on the competition, right? Honda's got massive brand recognition. This could shake things up in that premium ADV segment.
That's a great point. A new battleground, maybe. How do you think they'll stack up against, say, the established European brands in this space?
That's the million-rupee question, isn't it? Honda has the brand, definitely. But yeah, that premium ADV space is crowded.
So what's their edge?
Could be service network, reliability, reputation, maybe. They'll need to offer something compelling beyond just the specs to really pull people away from the existing favorites. It's a tough segment to crack.
Okay, interesting. Now, sticking with bigger bikes, Suzuki's also been active. Two launches to talk about.
Right, the GSX and the V-Strom.
Yeah, first the GSX-8R. That's a 776cc sports tourer. It launched just back on June 9th, priced at 9.25 lakh.
Okay, so a bit under the Transalp. Different focus, more road-biased touring.
Exactly. And then there's the V-Strom 800DE. That's their 800cc adventure bike. Landed June 5th for 10.30 lakh.
So more directly competing with bikes like the Transalp, price-wise and capability-wise.
Seems like it. And one technical point for both of these Suzukis, they're now OBD2B compliant.
Ah, okay. That's important. That OBD2B thing, it basically means they meet the latest emission rules. The updated ones.
So cleaner, maybe a bit smarter electronically.
Yeah, essentially. Fresher tech. It shows Suzuki is keeping its mid-segment lineup current, not just launching new models, but making sure they meet the regulations, meet what riders expect now in terms of tech, being greener,
Future-proofing, like you said.
Exactly. Future-proofing the lineup.
All right, so we've seen Honda and Suzuki aiming kind of high-mid to premium. Let's shift gears a bit, talk about something more accessible in the adventure world.
Okay.
The Yezdi Adventure. They've refreshed their 334cc model that came out June 4th, and it starts from 2.15 lakh.
Right. Much lower price point.
Yeah, clearly aiming for, well, more accessible pricing, get more people into that ADV look and feel, and they've updated the styling too.
Yeah, Yezdi's definitely targeting those budget adventure bike fans. That whole adventure segment's not just the expensive bikes anymore. It's booming across the board.
So there's real demand even at this lower end.
Absolutely. This gives riders an option. They get the ADV style, some capability, without that big price tag of the larger bikes. It really widens the entry point for adventure riding.
Makes sense. But I guess the question is, what kind of compromises are you making at that price point? Is it mostly looks, or does it still offer genuine, off-road potential?
That's fair. Look, you're not getting the power or the sophisticated electronics of a Tenere or a Transalp.
Right.
But
what?
But bikes like the Yezdi Adventure, they still offer real capability for, say, light trails touring on broken roads.
Mm.
It's definitely more than just an aesthetic choice.
Okay.
It's a trade-off, for sure, but it's one that makes this whole style of riding possible for a lot more people in India.
Gotcha. Okay, one more in the motorcycle space before we hit the EVs. Let's talk performance. Raw power.
All right. Kawasaki.
You guessed it. The Kawasaki Z900. It's their Sport Naked, packing a 948cc engine.
East of an engine.
Yeah. And Sport Naked, for anyone wondering, means it's basically stripped down, no fairings, aggressive look, all about the performance.
Pure muscle bike aesthetic.
Right. It hit the market June 2nd, priced between 9.38 and 9.52 lakh, depending on the variant. This is all about aggressive performance in that near-liter class.
Yeah, not exactly a subtle commuter bike.
Definitely not. Probably not ideal for weaving through rush hour traffic unless you're feeling particularly brave.
Small laugh. Probably not. Look, Kawasaki, they've always been strong in this Sport Naked category. The Z900 is iconic. This refresh just cements their dominance.
Who's buying these, typically?
Riders who want that raw power, that immediate throttle response, agility, maybe for spirited city rides or tearing up some twisties on the weekend. Less about long-distance comfort, more about the thrill.
Okay, so a real mix on the motorcycle side. Premium ADVs, budget ADVs, performance nakeds.
A bit of everything, really. Reflects the diverse tastes.
But now let's switch to electric, because this is where things get really interesting, potentially transformative.
Agreed. The EV space is moving fast.
And Bajaj has just made a potentially massive move with Bajaj Chetak 3001.
The new Chetak variant. Heard about this.
Yeah, it's basically an entry-level version of their Chetak EV. It launched, like, today, mid-June, and the big news is the price. $99,990 ex-showroom.
Wow, okay. Under that 1 lakh rupee mark. That's significant.
Hugely significant, right? Bookings are open, deliveries by end of June. It's all about offering an affordable electric commuting option.
This is big. Bajaj isn't just, adding another model. This feels strategic, breaking that psychological price barrier. That could be huge for getting people to switch from petrol scooters.
You think this could be the thing that really kicks off mass adoption?
It has that potential, absolutely. A trusted brand like Bajaj offering an EV scooter under 1 lakh
Yeah.
that targets the heart of the market. It could genuinely change the game for EV growth in India. A real inflection point, possibly.
That sub 1 lakh price is definitely disruptive. But are there potential downsides? What about compromises, range, features? Could that put some buyers off?
That's always the trade-off with budget EVs, isn't it? We still need all the details on the 3001's specific range and features, but yeah, you'd expect some differences compared to the higher spec Chetaks.
So it's a gamble.
Less a gamble, more a calculated disruption play, I think. They're leveraging the existing Chetak platform, focusing laser sharp on that price point. The risk is managing expectations, sure.
Right. People expecting premium features at an entry-level price.
Exactly. But Bajaj has that brand trust, and crucially, they have the service network already in place. That helps a lot in reassuring buyers about EVs. It gives them a major edge.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together, reflecting on what we've covered. It's quite a range.
It really is.
We've got the strong showing from Honda and Suzuki in mid to high capacity adventure and touring bikes. That signals a healthy premium end.
Yep, growing appetite there.
Kawasaki just keeps nailing that Sport Naked segment. Yazdi is making a smart play for budget adventure riders.
Covering different bases.
And then possibly the biggest news, Bajaj dropping the Chetak 3001, making that crucial push into affordable electric commuting.
You summed it up perfectly. It really highlights this this kind of dual-pronged growth we're seeing.
Dual-pronged. Explain that.
Well, on one side, you have the premium stuff, adventure bikes, performance bikes getting more popular, riders wanting specialized, exciting experiences.
Right, the enthusiast market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on the other side, you've got this massive push in the EV segment, focused squarely on affordability, accessibility, trying to convert the everyday commuter.
So premiumization and mass electrification happening at the same time.
Precisely. It's a really fascinating dynamic playing out right now.
So thinking about the listener, what does all this actually mean for you? Whether you're a rider or just someone interested in how people are going to get around in the future. These aren't just specs and prices for new models. They're clues, right? Indicators of changing tastes, changing needs, where the whole market is shifting.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with a pretty interesting question to chew on, I think.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Well, how will these two paths, this push towards premium specialized bikes for enthusiasts and the drive for affordable electric options for the masses. How will they shape India's personal transport landscape over the next, say, 5 years?
Will they stay separate tracks?
Yeah.
Or will they somehow start to merge?
Exactly. Will we see a clear split? Or will technology or market forces eventually bridge that gap in ways we don't expect yet? It's a real tug of war between, desire and necessity driving what comes next.
That is a fascinating thought to mull over. Okay, hopefully this deep dive gave you a clear picture of the latest bikes and scooters hitting India's roads and maybe sparked some thoughts about what it all means.
Hope so.
Thanks so much for joining us. Definitely keep an eye on this space. It's constantly changing, always fascinating.